He drew maps of a world he'd never seen, sparked an age of discovery, yet never sailed beyond his homeland. How did one man, confined to land, unlock the oceans for an entire nation? From the sun-drenched shores of 15th-century Portugal emerged a figure whose name echoes through the annals of exploration, Prince Henry, often called the Navigator. But the truth of his legacy is far more complex, weaving threads of unparalleled vision with darker ambitions, forever altering the course of human history. This is the story of how one prince, armed not with a compass but with an insatiable curiosity and relentless drive, reshaped the known world and what that journey truly cost. Picture a world where the vast, blue unknown stretched beyond the horizon, shrouded in myths of sea monsters and boiling waters. For much of Europe in the early 15th century, the world was a map with huge, terrifying gaps. Yet within this limited understanding, a single individual, Prince Henry of Portugal, would become a pivotal figure, not just for his small kingdom, but for the entire globe. He's the architect of what we now call the Age of Discovery, a period that literally redrew the map of the earth. The greatest paradox of Prince Henry's life, the thing that catches most people off guard, is that this man, revered as the Navigator, never actually navigated a single significant voyage himself. His relentless drive wasn't about the thrill of discovery for himself, but about fueling it in others. He was the force behind the throne, the mind behind the sails, pushing Portugal, a relatively minor European power, to seek new horizons. His vision reshaped global trade, turning isolated economies into interconnected networks, and set the stage for exploration on a scale previously unimaginable. This was the dawn of a new era, and Henry was the dawnbringer. In this journey, we'll delve into his life, uncover his monumental legacy, and understand the profound transformation he sparked in 15th-century Portugal and beyond. Born in 1394, Henry was the third surviving son of King John I of Portugal. This wasn't a humble beginning, but it also wasn't a clear path to the throne. Unlike his older brothers, his destiny wasn't to rule directly, but to serve his country in other ways. And those ways, as it turned out, were far grander than anyone could have imagined. While many princes of his time focused on chivalry, courtly intrigue, or military conquests within Europe, Henry's ambitions stretched beyond traditional aristocratic pursuits. He saw beyond the familiar battlefields and political marriages. His kingdom, Portugal, was positioned perfectly on the edge of the Atlantic, but it was also somewhat isolated from the bustling, lucrative trade routes that enriched Italian city-states like Venice and Genoa. These mercantile powerhouses grew rich by controlling the flow of exotic goods, spices, silks, gold, from the east, often through dangerous overland routes controlled by various empires. Henry, with a keen eye for economics and power, envisioned a Portuguese maritime empire, one that wouldn't just participate in these trades, but would dominate them by finding new direct sea routes. His primary goal, a burning obsession, was to find a sea route to the legendary gold mines of West Africa, and ultimately to the fabled spice markets of the East, bypassing the traditional routes and their intermediaries. But this wasn't purely a commercial endeavor. Henry was also a devout Christian, and spreading his faith was a deeply personal and strategic motivation. He saw exploration as a means to expand Christendom, find allies against Islamic powers, and fulfill a spiritual calling that mingled seamlessly with his worldly ambitions. It was a potent mix of God, glory, and gold. The year 1415 marked a crucial turning point for Prince Henry. This was the year Portugal launched a surprise attack on Ceuta, a wealthy Moroccan port city directly across the Strait of Gibraltar. Henry, then just 21, participated prominently in the capture of this strategic stronghold. It wasn't just a military victory, it was an eye-opener. Ceuta was a hub, a vibrant marketplace where Henry and his fellow Portuguese got their first real glimpse of the immense wealth flowing through North Africa. In the bustling souks and markets of Ceuta, Henry didn't just see exotic goods, he saw evidence of vast trans-Saharan trade routes. He learned of caravans laden with gold, ivory, and slaves traveling from the deep interior of Africa, routes Portugal couldn't access by land. This exposure ignited a spark. He began to realize the immense potential of exploration beyond the familiar European boundaries. Recognizing that unimaginable riches lay waiting beyond the known world if only someone could reach them by sea. Henry's mind was a whirlwind of strategic thinking. He devoured knowledge about cartography, the science of map-making, and devoured any accounts of distant lands. He understood that the key to unlocking these treasures lay not just in brute force, but in intellect, planning, and technological advancement. For Henry, the desire to combat the Islamic faith, which controlled these lucrative land routes, was not just religious fervor, but a shrewd strategic move. By finding a sea route, Portugal could outflank their rivals, securing economic dominance and spreading Christianity in one bold stroke. This combination of faith, greed, and strategic genius made him a truly formidable force. After the triumph of Ceuta, Prince Henry retreated to Sagres, a remote and wind-swept promontory on Portugal's southwestern tip, often romanticized as a formal. Here, Henry wasn't lecturing students. He was assembling the brightest minds of his age. He gathered cartographers who could draw the most accurate maps available, correcting old errors and charting new discoveries. He brought together astronomers who could teach sailors to navigate by the stars, a crucial skill for long-distance voyages. But it wasn't just about the science of the heavens and maps. He also attracted master shipbuilders, men who understood the complex interplay of wood, canvas, and wind. And experienced navigators, hardy souls who had braved the Atlantic's unpredictable waters. Sagres became a crucible of innovation, a place where theoretical knowledge met practical seafaring experience. It was here, through countless trials and failures, that the revolutionary caravel ship was perfected. The caravel was no ordinary vessel. It was a game-changer, the true workhorse of the Age of Discovery. Unlike heavier, square-rigged European ships that were great for sailing with the wind, the caravel featured lateen, or triangular sails. This ingenious design allowed it to sail much closer to the wind, even beating against it, a feat previously impossible for larger ships. Its shallow draft also meant it could explore coastal waters and rivers, while its sturdy construction allowed it to endure the fierce storms of the open ocean. This incredible versatility and maneuverability made the caravel absolutely crucial for navigating the treacherous, often unknown African coast, where prevailing winds and currents often pushed ships back home. Without the caravel, Henry's dream of reaching distant lands might have remained just that, a dream. With the caravel as their champion and Sagres as their forge, Henry's captains began their relentless push down the African coast. These were not easy voyages. Imagine sailing into the absolute unknown, with no reliable maps, no idea what lay beyond the next cape, the next storm. The challenges faced by Portuguese explorers were immense: terrifying weather, dwindling supplies, the constant fear of the unknown, and the psychological burden of venturing beyond the edge of the world as they knew it. Many ships were lost, many lives claimed by the unforgiving sea. Yet, despite these daunting obstacles, the triumphs were real, slow but persistent. Each return voyage, even if it only pushed a few miles further south than the last, brought back invaluable knowledge, new star charts, new current patterns, new coastlines to add to their growing maps. Slowly but surely, the Portuguese pushed past Cape Bojador, long considered the point of no return, a psychological barrier. beyond which sailors feared they would literally fall off the edge of the flat earth. They discovered the Azores, Madeira, and the Cape Verde Islands, establishing crucial outposts for future journeys. As they progressed, they encountered indigenous peoples along the coast, leading to a mix of trade, conflict, and cultural exchange. Small trading posts, or feitorias, were established, facilitating the exchange of European goods for African gold, ivory, and other commodities. But this period also marks a dark and often overlooked chapter in Portugal's history, one that cast a long, grim shadow across the world. The Portuguese, driven by both economic opportunity and the prevailing attitudes of the time, became deeply involved in the transatlantic slave trade. Initially, a few African captives were brought back to Portugal as curiosities or servants. But as the voyages continued and the demand for labor grew, this trickle became a flood. The first documented arrival of African slaves in Portugal occurred in 1444, a direct consequence of Henry's expeditions. While Henry himself may not have personally overseen the slave trade in all its horrific detail, his exploratory ventures opened the routes that allowed it to flourish. This profound impact on Africa and the world, the brutal dehumanization of millions, remains a stark reminder that even the most visionary pursuits can lead to unspeakable suffering. It's a truth that history demands we acknowledge, not gloss over. Prince Henry the Navigator died in 1460, a relatively old man for his time at the age of 66. It's a fascinating fact that he passed away before any of his captains achieved the ultimate breakthrough he so desperately sought, a direct sea route to India. He never saw Vasco da Gama round the Cape of Good Hope, nor did he witness the vast, wealthy Portuguese empire that would rise from the seeds he planted. His personal ambition, though immense, was never fully realized in his lifetime. However, his unwavering commitment, his tireless leadership, and his singular vision laid the unquestionable foundation for all that followed. He instilled in Portugal a maritime culture, a spirit of innovation, and a relentless drive for discovery that few nations could match. He didn't just sponsor voyages. He created an entire infrastructure of knowledge and technology that propelled Portugal onto the global stage. It's no exaggeration to say that Henry's work ushered in Portugal's golden age, a period of immense wealth, power, and cultural flourishing. The profound impact of Prince Henry on global history cannot be overstated. He didn't just redraw maps. He began the process of connecting continents, of shaping the interconnected world we know today. His expeditions were the genesis of the subsequent Portuguese Empire, an empire that would span the globe and touch countless lives. He ignited a spark that would lead to Columbus, Magellan, and a cascade of explorers who fundamentally reshaped human understanding of the Earth. Yet, recognizing the transformative power of his vision and exploration also means acknowledging the complex, often tragic consequences that followed. The rise of colonialism, exploitation, and the devastating transatlantic slave trade. Prince Henry's legacy is a tapestry woven with threads of incredible achievement and immense human cost. A reminder that progress, like the sea itself, can be both beautiful and brutal. If you found this deep dive into the world-changing ambitions of Prince Henry fascinating, then you absolutely need to explore the story of how his dream truly culminated. Do well to subscribe to Slave Memory Chronicles, like, share, and hit the notification bell for more captivating slave memory stories.